Good evening. I hope everyone is well. I will start as I usually do by reading my mission statement. When life is difficult, many people feel alone, believing nobody can truly understand their struggles. But in truth, although the story is different for each of us, we all live with and through the same emotional experiences: pain, joy, passion. These feelings are what I consider to be the common bond between human beings. It is my sincere desire that a person reading this book realizes that someone else has felt what they have, what someone else has felt what they have, and that they are not alone. And no, we're not alone. And today my subject is about selfishness. And of course that's a broad topic, and I'm going to speak on it in several different ways. The first thing, since this is the last day of Black History Month, but first, before I get into it, how y'all like my hat? I love my hat. 1940, Monsieur Pierre. My daughter know I love hats and vintage hats, and she got this for me. Oh my gosh, I can't hardly stop looking at it. But anyway, the first area of selfishness that has been there, forever, um, but that is it reared its head dramatically in the last 4 years with the nutty bar that we had in the White House. How white people are so selfish with with their need to be hateful and to demonstrate their racism, that they're ruining their own lives and the lives of their families and people around them. And it's amazing to me. I hate to say it, but I laugh at them that they don't recognize that their actions are not only illegal in a lot of cases. That's why they're starting to arrest people for, detaining Black people, stopping Black people on the street, if they sitting in a certain place or walking on a certain side or trying to get in their own homes. And, I saw a video where a woman she was a FedEx driver, and she sped down this little dirt road, and while she was on her way to deliver the package, this man pulled in front of her and detained her and kept her from leaving, saying that she was driving too fast. The police end up being called, of course, and the policeman told her, she could press charges against you. This is, you're detaining her. It's a form of kidnapping. And the white guy just couldn't understand it because, of course, he was right to be able to detain a Black person that he felt like was doing something wrong, and it turns out that he was 100% wrong. You cannot do that. Um, Over these 4 years, I was reminded of a poem that also happens to be Maya Angelou's favorite poem. I went to see her live in Chicago back in the 80s. And when she got up and said, my favorite poem is by Coty Coulter. I always say his name wrong. But I was wondering which one it was going to be, and it was the exact one. And it's called Riding in Old Baltimore. Once riding in Old Baltimore, heart filled, head filled with glee, I saw a Baltimorean just looking straight at me. Now I was only 8, and he was no whit bigger. So I smiled. But he poked out his tongue and called me a nigger. I saw the whole of Baltimore from May until December. Of all the things that happened there, that's all that I remember. And for me, I took that poem to heart. I was 15 when I first came across it. And it just really, being an empath, it struck me on two levels. Of course, the racism level, but also the level of how something so minor that is done out of hate or, disgust or just total disrespect, how it can impact you to the point where it affects your total being. And that's what racism has done for us as a culture. But even with that said, I say that racism is a white person's problem that they inflict on us. And yes, we want to have the town hall meetings and we want to talk about it. And, we want to have these, networking events and, how can you undo racism? And they're still putting the burden on us to clean up their shit. They should be the ones who are diligently trying to find out how they could eradicate this from their souls, because you can't legislate the soul. I don't care how many laws they make or how many ideas they come up with, until each individual who harbors these disbeliefs about us just based on the color of our skin, until they decide, you know, this is mighty selfish of me. And most of them know it's not true, because they'll be the first ones to say, "Oh, I have a black friend." They'll be the first ones, but they're usually 9 times out of 10 the most racist, and they pick that one person, that one black person, out of all the myriad of black people to say, well, I know they're all not bad because I like this one, and 9 times out of 10 that one that they like is biting their tongue. They are not allowing themselves to be who they are in front of this person. I wish I had a dime for every time I saw on my feed one of my black friends in shock and awe that so many of their people that they thought, white people they really thought were their friends, they found out I had to unfriend such and such a day. We used to go to lunch. We used to do this. I didn't know she really felt like that. How you not gonna know? It was something that told you, but she was paying for lunch, wasn't she? you know, she was going when y'all go to the store. She was buying you something, wasn't she? Or if you said that you needed some help on your rent, or you needed some help in some kind of way, she was the first one to pull out her check, wasn't she? Because that's how they absorb that, those thoughts that they're having in their head. Oh, they don't, because money, for most of them is nothing, and nothing from nothing leaves nothing. So if they helping nothing, they giving nothing to nothing, and sure, and they found out you didn't mean nothing to them. That money that they had did not affect them enough for them to think that it mattered or to think that you mattered. I had a male Facebook friend that I unfriended. He actually, was hit me up in my DM, baby girl, this, baby girl, that, whatever. And I was reading his page one day, and there was a white man that was just totally disrespectful to him. Some of the things that he was saying, I could not believe. So I went in my DM and I was like, how can you let him talk to you like this? Oh, when I was down and out, he gave me a job and he bought me some $900 gators. So now I know how much you worth to you. You gonna sell your soul for $900? You gonna let this man disrespect you in front of people that you done grew up with all your life because he gave you some $900 gators and he gave you a job when you needed one? Really? Brother, you own the plantation. Yes, Lord. Okay? I got rid of him in the quickness. When I was 15, my father's job called him. And all I could hear is this, yes, sir. No, sir. Okay, sir. I understand, sir. I was like, hell. So I had to go see. And it was my father. I had never heard that tone other than Steppin' Fetching and Rochester on Charlie Chan. Yes, Mr. Chan, Mr. Chan. Like, what the hell? And I was like, Daddy, what's What? Why you talking to him? Like, I confronted him. That's just how shocked I was. I confronted him and he said, "You'll find out." I'm like, "No, I won't. No, I won't." No, I won't be the one. You can be guaranteed. You didn't raise me to be like that, whether you realized it or not. You didn't. Now, I will say this: I was angry at my parents when I moved to Evanston, and it was like Coming to America. That's the name of my chapter in my autobiography, Coming to America, because they never talked about race ever. They made books and stuff available to us, and we had Martin Luther King and uh the Kennedys on the wall and Malcolm X and all of that, but no conversation was around that. So at 23, I get this rude awakening because I came from an all black city. And the only white folks I saw was the ones I handed my money to in the store, and some of my teachers. The majority of my teachers was black. So I didn't have that issue, that disparity. I didn't feel that, deep in my soul, but once I moved to Evanston, as subtle as it was there. And I wrote my parents letters. You were supposed to prepare me for this. You were supposed to make sure that I understood what I was walking into when I left the comfort of my blackness to go out into this world. They told me don't write them no more letters. I know they did, but that's all right. Because I know where I was supposed to get it from. You left me vulnerable. So I had to hurry up and do some true research, not just reading the little stuff that they put in our sphere. I actually had to go to the libraries and find out what is going on because we didn't have Google and all of that stuff, back in 83. We didn't have that. So I had to find the Evanston Library and start reading up on what is really going on. They did their little Black history stuff. I know y'all know they had the black and gold book that we got that's supposed to be African American history, whatever. No, it didn't. It didn't barely scratch the surface of what it really means to be black in America. I was on the internet, and one of these new news things flashed up, and it was about something about Black History Month, and I made a statement, and this white man responded by saying, well, black people kill each other, and I mean, he just went in. He just went really, really in. So I wrote him back and I said, white people kill each other too. I said, just 2 weeks ago, what should have been at the most a snowball fight, three people end up dead. One, and he shot him and then turned around and went in the house and came and unloaded a R-15 or whatever you call that into him. He wrote me back and said, well, at least it wasn't young kids and just a random shooting. So I wrote him back and I said, I know. White folks do they wrong, right, don't they? Did he write me back? No, he didn't. But I wrote him back. I also said to him, I said, you need to be careful because your hate and your racism is going to get you caught up. Your selfishness, your belief that just the color of your skin makes it okay for you to say whatever you want to say and do whatever you want to do to people of color is going to get you caught up. Because if nothing else, we do have civil rights and those laws are on the books. And that's what black folks need to understand. Discrimination is against the law. You don't have to run and hide. You need to go and get you a lawyer and fight, take some of their houses, mess with their jobs and put a stop to them messing with you. You ain't got to get mad and fight them and all of that. Get you a lawyer because it's against the law now. That's one of the things that we did benefit from the civil rights movement. And these things are on the book, but so many of us want to get upset. We want to fight. We want to be woe is me. You know, one of my friends on Facebook said, "Have you ever had a problem with a supervisor being nasty to you in front of other people on the job?" Yep, I did, and I went straight to HR and ethics and compliance. I didn't get mad and get back with her. But some other folks, responded, "Well, I would just make sure that I was looking for me another job so I could make sure that it don't matter if I get fired." Why you got to do all of that? When all you have to do is go to HR, no matter what they do or they don't do, that person is put on notice. They know I got to find me somebody else to play with. And that's what it's about, you know? Now, I done said enough about, it's the end of Black History Month, and I just wanted to throw that in. Just remember that you Black every month and every day of that month, okay? Every hour, every minute, every second. And yeah, it's nice to, dig up the past, talk about Harriet Tubman and, all the people that got us to where we are. But you remember that you make Black history every day in some form or some fashion. If nothing else, within your home, you have an opportunity to make Black history every single day. And that's what we should be doing. Making sure that the people that we rear inside of our homes are a great representation of what it means to be Black. And the most important thing that it means to be Black is to be human. And then next to that is to be a decent human being. And then next to that is to be a decent, productive human being. Love yourself and love others to whatever extent you can. I ain't into loving everybody. I ain't gonna say that I do. I don't even try. Because if I got to get with you, it ain't gonna be nice. And it ain't gonna feel like love. Even if I love you, it ain't gonna be nice. It ain't gonna feel like love. But you already know I love you, so whatever. The next form of selfishness that I want to talk about, I know that a lot of people may be shocked by what I'm about to say, or not even shocked, just never thought about it this way. And I decided to talk about this because I've had within the last 3 or 4 weeks where people have been telling me, "Oh, I wanted to do something for her, but she was like, no, no, that's okay." Or I tried to get such and such. They was like, "No, no, but I just feel so bad because, excuse me, they always doing stuff for other people." I said, that's a selfish person. How you gonna say they selfish and they don't want nobody to do nothing for them? I said, well, I'm sure they probably consider themselves a Christian. And one of the golden rules is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. You know, love your brother as you love yourself. But if you have a person that they just want to always save the day, they want to be the only one on the giving end, they don't want to take nothing from nobody, that's a selfish person. If they say they get joy, and then this is what they're used to. I get joy out of doing for others. You think you're the only one that want joy from giving? So when somebody try to have their joy of being able to give to you, you're gonna stop them. You're gonna keep them from having their joy, but you're gonna make sure you get yours. Now that same person, and not all of them, but that same person will be the first one to throw up in your face that they did something for you. And if they don't tell you, they're gonna tell somebody else. Well, I had to help her with a rent again. Now I don't mind helping people, but I'm just saying, be the first one. It is selfish to only be a giver. What makes life beautiful is the give and take. One-sidedness is evil. Think about how it makes that person feel not to be able to experience the joy of giving, not being able to at least be able to reciprocate on some level the joy that you've shared with them. Why should it be that you're the only joyful person from giving. And why should it be that you can't accept someone doing something for you? What does that say that you think about yourself? Are you not worthy of gifts? Are you not worthy of love and appreciation? And if not, why do you feel that way? You don't really feel that way. Most people don't really feel that way that do that. They do that because they want to feel good about themselves, but they don't care if other people feel good about themselves. I gave someone a gift, and the gift cost me $20, and it cost me $9 to send the gift to them. This person is one of them people that, don't give me nothing, don't do nothing, whatever. Sent me a check for $29. Now I told them I was sending them the gift. And it got out how much the gift cost because it was different sizes. And I had talked about that in the beginning. And then it dawned on me I could send this to this person. I know the person well, so I went on and took the $29. But it was a slight. It was a slap in the face because they knew that I wanted to do something for them, but they wanted to be able to say that I don't do nothing for them. Man, and these mothers, their kids ask, well, mama, what you want? Nothing. And then when they get mad, don't nobody do nothing for me. Don't nobody care about me. And then they say, well, mama, I tried to, no, whatever. That's selfishness. And I charge you to really think about that. And if you one of those kind of people, check yourself. Be gracious. Be thankful. Don't push people away that want to do something for you, that want to show that they care, that want to experience the joy of giving, because there is I'm a giver all day long. But you can be guaranteed I'm going to accept what is ever given to me. I don't care what it is. I received some beautiful paintings from one of my Facebook friends. Her name is Felicia Reynolds. And I'm going to do something that I normally don't do, but I'm going to get up because I want to show you guys this. Now, all I did was say, oh, I like that. And I told her I thought, you're a wonderful artist. And I love art. And I don't have that eye. I don't have that. That's not one of my talents. But I really respect people who could do that. And then I've said that to her. So she came in my DM and she said, send me your address. I want to send you a painting. Which color do you want? What I said, what I like what I saw. She ended up sending me two. But I will not lie. The first thought that I had, I wasn't saying that for you to send me anything. But I didn't tell her that. I accepted it. There was even a part of me that wanted, let me send her a check. But why would I do that? Why would I take away? Why would I minimize the joy that I'm sure that she felt knowing that I'm going to hang these on my wall? People are going to ask me who did it. People are going to ask me, how much they cost. So people are going to see these, and they're going to think, wow, these are great. But why would I minimize the beauty and the thought and the care, that went into them and into her wanting to share that with me? When I worked for Today's Woman magazine, I've had people send me jewelry, all kinds of stuff, just based on, whatever they felt from what I gave them, according to them, through my writings. We're here for each other. And that's part of the reason why I don't do religion, because people read their Bible, and everything in the Bible read it too. Everything is about loving each other. Well, not everything, because there's a lot of trauma, a lot of drama, and a lot of trauma in the Bible. Okay, come on, a lot of violence. But by the same token, it's counteracted by, words of love and peace and hope, and that God sent his son here to show us how to love each other. But some kind of way, we turn it around. God help those on who help themselves. Do you think that God said ain't of God? There's no way that could be of God. If you think he's gonna say treat people the way you want to be treated? Do you want people to mistreat you? Do you want people not to help you when you need some help? They got to wait on God. God already sent his son to tell you that you're supposed to help this person. But you're going to rewrite it and make it be how you want to be. You're going to give when you want to give, you know. Give and keep other people from giving to you. Selfishness. Another form of selfishness. And usually you see this in marriage a lot. When you take your vows, it's equal. I'm gonna be here for you. You're gonna be here for me. Forsaking all others, in and out, up and down. How that go. But if anybody who's been married, this is a man's world. Marriage benefits men more than it ever would a woman. Now, before women could work, it benefited them to the degree that they had a house to live in and somebody was paying their bills. But outside of that, there was no benefit because they was expected to do everything because it was bought and paid for. But in this day and time, women are working and they love to, spot the statistics about how a single woman, single homes are ran by women, and, women are more, especially Black women, more educated than, any other culture, and, on and on and in and out. But we're still expected to do that double duty. Just talking to a friend today. Her daughter is just turning 40 years old. And she's complaining because her husband comes, so they got a 2-year-old. She's working 2 jobs. He's working, but he come home and he get on on his video games. He doesn't help with the baby, none of that. She's expected to do all of that. So she's complaining to her mother about what's going on or what's not going on. So it makes you wonder, what feeds that kind of selfishness? That you would go against yourself because the wife that he got, if she ain't cussing him out every day, she's saving it up for a day. And he would rather have it every day than to have it that one time because he gonna have hell to pay. But how could you see somebody needs you? Know somebody needs your help. Know that their situation, what they've been going through, but you choose to satiate yourself, to do what makes it easier for you. And yes, he deserves downtime, but not until everything else is done. You leave that to when the baby is asleep. When you have young children in the house, there's no room for selfishness on anybody's part. And a woman can't afford to be. Somebody got to do it. But then we wonder why there's so much chaos in relationships. It's due to the unevenness, the unwillingness to really and truly share your life. And then some men take it even further to self-centeredness, that they're upset because the woman is taking care of the child, that it's got to be all about them all the way around. He got to come first and on every angle. Really? Now, I watched this show called Married at First Sight, and it's the 12th season. And there has been some pretty raunchy situations, you know, but this season, with this guy, he is a sociopath. And the woman who he's married to, if you want to know how a woman ends up a battered woman, this is the blueprint for it. You need to watch. You need to go back. I think we on maybe the sixth or seventh episode, but you need to binge watch up until now. This man had sex with her on the wedding night. Had sex with her on the wedding morning. Told her he was going to get some coffee, or whatever. He comes back 2 hours later. And of course, she's upset. He didn't call her. She had been calling him. He didn't call her back. Comes back and tells her the reason why he was gone is because he's not attracted to her. Okay. That would have been it for me right there. But no. You know what she said? There's a reason that the experts put us together. And, and God and God and God. That is not of God. That is not of God. There's no way. But that's her justification because she wants a husband. And when you listen to her in her interviews, that's all it's about. It's about a husband. Don't just long as it's a man and that he's willing to be her husband. And she's showing that. How selfish, and she's being selfish with herself. Now I know you people probably think, how can you be selfish with yourself? But you can. She's going against herself. She's going against her best interests, risking her livelihood, risking her sanity, risking her self-respect, risking, blows to her character, to her reputation. National TV allowing this man to drag you. Because what really was happening when he was gone those 2 hours was that he was running from his newfound baby mama that he had broke up with the woman. Her father died during the process. He go to comfort her. It ended up in unprotected sex. Now she's 6 weeks pregnant. He just married her. Find out the next day because she was blowing his phone up. So that's when he lied and said, "I'm going downstairs to get us whatever." But it was the family was there to confront him because the woman didn't know that he had went on Married at First Sight and got married. And then to make matters worse, they having sex almost every day and not being protected. And she keeps saying, this is God ordained. No, you made this choice. This is your mess. Now, no, of course, you didn't know that it was going. There's no way that you could have planned for it to turn out the way that it did. Absolutely no way. But once you see that you have walked into the lion's den and he has given her several opportunities to be able to walk out the lion's den. He told her that he thinks that he's still in love with the woman who he's the ex-fiance, but she's still, you know, I want to know. I want to know. The experts put us together for a reason. Yeah, y'all looked good on paper. All that was best based on the test and the psychological profiles and stuff that they did. But sociopaths are able to mimic sanity. They're able to act like they got some sense. They're able to, make you believe that they're right. And that's what he did, you know. He went through 3 or 4 different psychological tests or whatever, and that's because he's probably very intelligent and very smart, but he is extremely manipulative. So then he tells her that he thinks that they should get a divorce. When they get ready, what they do is they put them all together, the 5 couples, they put them together in an apartment building. So when they got ready to leave from Mexico, from Lake Vegas, they went to Vegas to go to back to Atlanta. He said he needed a break, so he didn't come back to their new apartment. She went back by herself, and she was there for 2 days. And then when he came back, he told her, "I think that we should get a divorce. That I'm going to try to make it work with the ex-fiance." Okay, now this is the 3rd time, baby, that he done let you know you ain't the one. How come you ain't running? So she's sitting there, she and you can hear her cursing, talking to the producers, you sitting there, you watching, okay, yeah, now she got it. She know that, the right thing to do is to walk away from this situation. He whispers in her ear that he's afraid that he might fall in love with her. And she puts this big smile on her face. She actually let that BS touch her. And I'm sitting in my room, I'm looking around the room, I'm like, am I not? What? What kind of self-hate is that? But she's so in the pursuit of having a husband. Ain't thinking about the marriage, not thinking about who she is and what this really means to her. None of that. She's not thinking about that kind of selfishness where you go against yourself to the point where you can cause harm to yourself. That there's not something inside of you that say, hold up, wait up, back up, wait, oh, what, I'm better than this, or I deserve better than this, or as a child of God, that I know that something is better for me. That this may be a mistake that I have made. Obviously, this is a mistake that I have made because a husband would not look at his wife. I don't care if you did just marry her at first sight. After you done had sex with her every day and tell her you're not attracted to her. You would not look at her and tell her that you left the woman that you was engaged to because can't trust her, but you love her. And you think that, you don't want somebody else to raise your child. So you think that you have to be in the household for that child to be raised. Hmm. It's heartbreaking to watch her go against herself in this way. And all I could think is how selfish you are being to you. How would you keep yourself from a possibility of actually experiencing happiness? Maybe, you this is to show you how far off the deep end that you really are. And how would you drag God into this mess? How could you look into the camera and say that you know that this is God's plan? No, this was your plan. This was your choice to do this. And it backfired. Okay, boom, it happens. But you got every out. You got the professionals telling you, get out. Pastor Cal was like, look, I'm for marriage. I believe in marriage. But I'm telling her she need to go. Dr. Pepper, I read an article where she said the same thing, but that she's not listening. And she's holding on to the ever-changing hands of no, this is not of God. And you crying and you upset and you this and that. No, this is you wanting to do you no matter what. And this is how you letting this man draw you in, you stay in this marriage. 6 months from now, you'll be in the news with black eyes. Because this is how they set you up. And he got such a devilish, evil look on his face. And he know that he's drawing you in and pulling. And now the next episode is about where he done set it up for her to meet the fiance. For what? What? I mean, I don't get it. But some of us could be so selfish, against ourselves that we go against the part of us that know what's right. But that part of us that just want what we want, that feel like we right because we want what we want, that we'll go against ourselves. Really. And a lot of women do that. And we need to wake up. You need to pay attention. You know, you need to pay attention. And just because you pray don't mean that this BS is the answer, because it's what you want. You have to be more discerning than that. And hopefully what she'll get out of this is that she'll see that she needs some therapy. You need to go to therapy, baby. You can keep on going to church, keep on reading your Bible, but you missing some points. You missing some understanding. You need some psychological help. That on national TV, you are so selfish that you are allowing yourself to be abused. Another form of selfishness that people don't really think about, and to their credit, and I understand it too, but we don't think about how selfish our children can be. And to a certain degree, they have to be to learn how to not be. It's one of them type processes. You got to go through some to learn how not to be that way. But we need to pay attention early on to what degree would our children go to get what they want. You see the instances where little white kids cuss their mamas out, and all of that when they don't get what they want and the mother give in. That's being selfish, and instead of the parent being the parent, and understanding that you need to guide this child towards an understanding that you don't just get to throw a fit and a tantrum and to get what you want. You don't get to just have it your way. Because this is the problem. This is why we have this going on. That guy, Chris, his daddy, when I saw his daddy, it made my flesh crawl listening to his voice. They're manipulators, they're sociopaths. This dude is used to really manipulating people, not just women, people in general. He fooled all of them professionals that went to school 10, 12 years to understand the humans. He was able to get past all of that because that's how we are. That's who we are. You never show 100% of who you are. And you know how to hide, and you know how to mimic. You learn social cues. And some people are really good at reading other people and being able to give them exactly what they want to get what they want. It starts early. And we need to pay attention to that. My oldest daughter, she was 12 years old before I had another child. And my greatest fear was that she would be selfish, just based on the fact that she never had to share with anybody. I don't know how she was with her friends, because she had a little group of friends over one time, and that was enough for me. They was like, no, no. But to my surprise and to my deep pleasure, she is generous to a fault. She is my most generous child. And I talked to her about that. And you know what she said? Well, Mom, you always told me to share. You was always generous with me. You always told me that it was important to be of service to people. You showed me that through your volunteerism, through your willingness to help my friends that was in need, I modeled that for her. Knowingly, unknowingly, willingly, whatever, I modeled that for her. But there was still a part of me that wasn't sure because I never asked her for anything. And and part of the reason why I thought she would be selfish, because she never really, when she was younger, she never really gave me anything. And when she did think, one of the times that she did think to give me something, she wrapped up something that was already mine and gave it to me. I'm like, what the hell? When I unwrapped it, she wrapped it up in Christmas paper. And when I unwrapped it, it was my, it was the top to my, and then on top of what it was the top to my stereo, my component set. I'm like, something's wrong with this girl. Don't she know I know this man? So I was sort of scared. I was like, mm, mm. But man, her brothers and sisters just overflowing with love. She just, and generosity, and her friends and, people that she know. And she modeled me, the volunteering and being there for other people. And then when she introduced me to her boyfriend, and I asked her, I was like, so what is it about him? And she said, I really didn't like him at first until I saw how he treat other people. And I was like, well, I be damn, that's a good one right there, you know? And they've been together almost 8 years, and she was still talking about it the other day. How genuine he is, how genuine and generous he is with other people. And when he asked them, how you doing? Then he really mean it. She said that she was sort of mad because they was in the grocery store. And he asked somebody how they was doing, and they started talking about how they was doing, and he stood there for 20 minutes and he listened. It makes a difference, you know? Look at your children, look around you. You'll see the signs because they will be adults one day. And if they want to do something for you, or you should teach them to do things for you. That way they won't be selfish. If you got to force them to share, you need to force that upon them. Because them being allowed not to do it will ensure that they won't want to do it, even when they should do it. Most of our troubles in this country, in this world, starts in the home. There's a gentleman on my Facebook page. There's a lot of murders that's going on, and this basically teenage kids killing each other. You know, excuse me. And he says, we need to get together, how are we going to stop this? So I finally brought him and I said, you can't stop it unless you're going to go to door and ask people, let you come into their homes and ask and see how they're rearing their children. See if they have sufficient staples and things that they need, that the kids not going they hungry and they angry because they can't eat, or the mother ain't waking up cursing them out in the morning, or cursing them out before they go to bed, or they not being ignored, or nobody's at home. The mother got 5 or 6 jobs, and then 9 times out of 10 she only doing that so she can give them stuff that they don't need. Yes, the cost of living is high and all of that, but some of the stuff that these mothers doing all this double time work for is stuff that they don't need. They need you. They need guidance. You need to be in your home. So I told him, in other countries, like in England, when a woman has a baby, the husband gets off and the mother gets off a whole year, 6 months to a year. They have social workers come to their house during that time to help them with their parenting skills. This is a part of their society, and it works. They don't have guns in the home. And sure, they have, the violence and, all of this, but it's nowhere near how it is here. The homelessness and the this and the that, because they take care of their humanity. The United States is not humane by any form, shape, or fashion. It's all about that dollar. And if you can't make it, bring it, share it, point to where you can get it, they not listening. So what we have to do is teach our children how to be productive, teach them the importance of service to others, teach them the importance of loving themselves, teach them the importance of having an education, knowing how to read and write and comprehend and do math. Another thing, we go to school too long. If they can drop out at 16, then that's when they should be able to graduate. The other 2 years is not necessary. If they could drop out at 16, and everything else should start at 16. They should be able to get their license. They should be able to do, what is the sense behind they don't, at 16 they can legally drop out of school, but then they can't legally do nothing else for 2 more years. It's crazy. It don't make no sense. But it's probably, you follow the money, you'll find out. They done figured out some kind of, equation where, it's more fiscally feasible to keep them until they 18. I can guarantee you, it's got to do with some money. Because it don't have to do nothing with intellect or none of that. For sure. What kind of selfishness is going on in your home? What are your kids seeing? How are you being selfish with them? Do you have, ways that you are holding back or showing them that it's okay, not to share? Are you separating yourself when you should be engaging? For the women, are you tracing men in and out, not caring, where they come from or what they doing or what they might be doing to the children in your home? That's the worst kind of selfishness. Mama got needs. Your mama need to take her needs and keep them on the outside. Mom need to get her a hotel room and let old boy stay wherever he at. Don't bring him in your house over your children. Don't be so desperate to have your physical needs met, because that's really what it comes down to. Because 9 times out of 10, he emotionally abusive to you and the kids. Distant, whatever. It's rare that you see a good stepdaddy or step boyfriend or uncle or whatever you want to call him. 9 times out of 10, this is going to be a tragedy. You made bad choices. You have to live with that. You got young kids in the house. You don't need to put your needs before theirs. They need to be protected. And if you're going to use your selfishness as a barrier between your children, whether your children are protected or not, you feeling loved or, appreciate whatever you get from Johnny Boy, something's wrong with that. We talked about selfishness when it comes to race, and selfishness when it comes to giving, and selfishness when it comes to yourself, personally, that you're going against your better interests to appease a part of yourself that can't be thinking right. If you're going to allow yourself to be abused to get something that you want, I just have to laugh. That's just crazy to me. Like my uncle. I had an uncle. Perfect. This is a great example, for real. I come in my grandmother's kitchen and he's smoking a cigarette. and tears just running down his face. I mean, streaming, streaming, pooling on the end of his chin. I'm like, Uncle Tom, what's wrong? I'm allergic to cigarette smoke. I was like, what? What kind of shit? You allergic to cigarette smoke and you said you just smoke. I like to smoke. I, I just, you know, and before I really understood this concept of what I'm saying, I could see times in my life where I was selfish against myself. Like that time I ate 5 boxes of Crunch and Munch because it was so good. But then I was mad because I gained like 20 pounds. It's like, you got to wake up. You're doing this to yourself. Why are you doing this to yourself? It's not okay that it's because it's what you want to do. Sure, yes, it's your body or whatever, but if you're going to complain about it afterwards, if you're not going to be able to function properly after you obtain this thing that you so selfishly had to have for yourself, and it's caused you problems, it's not worth it. Right? Doing right is its own reward, no matter how hard it is. And you see it all the time. I recently just had somebody tell me, I got to die from something. And it had to do with the corona. And I looked at I'm like, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to keep myself from dying from coughing to death or not being able to breathe. I'm staying in as much as I possibly can and going out as least as I possibly can. I'm going to try to avoid that, but I'm not going to say, rationalize that I got to die from something, so I'm going to put myself in harm's way. Then why don't you just walk out in front of a bus? You could die from that. Shit. Right. And then the last thing that we talked about is the selfishness that goes on when you watching your children as early as possible. They need to learn to share and to care about other people. You got to work that empathy muscle. A lot of times people can know if they children are sociopath a whole lot early on. Instead of just, taking their moods and letting them be who they want to be, you need to be delving into that. Seeing why. That you little Susie took your block and he took it hit in the head with the chair. The hell? You can't just chalk it up to boys will be boys or, he just a baby, all of that. No. You gotta be there. Gotta pay attention. And you have to love yourself enough to do the right thing for you and for those around you. Doing right is its own reward. You'll never feel so good when you know that you intentionally did what was appropriate, what was right, what was needed at any given time. Being selfish, I should say, and selfishness within itself usually only leads to demise. If you can only hear what makes you happy, 9 times out of 10, you alone. Nobody wants to be around you because they can't get any validation. So I'm going to end this by saying I love my hat. Ooh, honey, you can't tell me nothing. Mm, mm, mm. I've been looking at it the whole time. I know like I've been looking in the camera, but I've been looking at me. Lord have mercy. This is my first time wearing it. I tried it on, but it's my first time wearing it. I done had it on the whole hour. I'm going to take it off. I ain't going to keep it on. I love each and every one of you. I want the best for anyone who is looking at this. Be the best you that you could possibly be. Yes. And we can do this. We can change our world. If we can't change the world, we can change our world. And that's what's the most important thing. Because when you change your world for the better, because you are a part of the world, it gets better. Peace.